We talked about earlier that the running back position was horrible on the waiver wire. It's not too much better with the wide receivers this week. But as we roll into week 5, we still got to grab some jabronis off the waiver wire to see if they can help our teams, to see if they can get us some fantasy production. Maybe there's some stashes. I bet there are. And we need to know who these guys are. So today we're going to go over 10 waiver wire wide receivers going into week 5. But before we do, you need to click that subscribe button right now. Give it a tap with the finger on your phone. Click with the mouse. Stop missing out on the deep dives on these players, these waiver wire videos that we do multiples of throughout the week. We also help you set lineups and everything else to help you win your league. But let's dig in to these 10 wide receivers off the waiver wire. First one, Jameson Williams, and he's going to be back this week. He's an air yards machine. He is the ultimate stash play because this guy's going to be running deep every single route, and there's an opportunity that he gets a target on that play, and if he brings it in as a home run hitter, I compare him to Will Fuller, like a Will Fuller effect, like I call with a lot of these wide receivers, like a Marvin Mims. Running deep routes, the ball's in the air, you bring in 1 or 2 of those, you got yourself a splash week. He's going to be a splash gamer coming back when he gets on the field, because look at this offense here. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown soaking between a 25 to 30% target share. Sam Laporta, you got a tight end here getting targets. They float targets to the running back, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs whenever the matchup calls for it. We have Josh Reynolds there getting some targets. So the deep balls are going to go his way. The volume's not going to be super steady, but considering those deep balls are just going to be running rampant since he has that top tier 4.3 speed, he's going to bring in a few. He's going to have some splash weeks, and he's going to be a guy you're going to want to have as a lottery ticket, as a guy you want to play the matchups with. Next is Joshua Palmer. After talking about him all last week, he's still available on the waiver wire in some leagues. He shouldn't be, because he's on the Chargers offense, one of the fastest paced offenses in the league. They throw the ball a lot. When Mike Williams is out, he averages 12.9 PPR points per game, had 10 last week, had 8 targets and a 33% target share, ran 31 routes and a 96% route participation rate. So he was getting work, and he will get work going forward. Joshua Palmer is that safe play off the waiver wire if he's still there. Shame on you for letting him still be on the waiver wire, because he's going to be a productive wide receiver. That's something you're not going to see safely on the waiver wire. That being said, while we're here and while we're talking about the Chargers, Quinton Johnston is in the same realm. He's in this offense. He's a first-round rookie. The thing about him, another lottery ticket. Think about Jameson Williams. He's getting deep targets. He saw deep targets in last week's game, getting a good ADOT. And the thing about him is he could go nuclear anytime. That's the thing about it. That's why he's a lottery ticket. He's not a ho-hum guy who's going to get you 10, 11, 12 points a game when he's steadily getting targets. It's either going to go all the way to the moon or nowhere. That's the thing about him. If you want him and you want to chase going to the moon, that's a Quinton Johnston play. If you want steady, good production, about 13 points a game, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, up and down between that range, you got Josh Palmer. But Quinton Johnston, there's a good chance somewhere between now and the end of the season that he's going to get some run. We're in the AFC West. Chargers sling the football around. You got a dichotomy between these two wide receivers. You could really get both of them. One as a steady play and one as a stash play. You can do whatever you want, but you got to know who these guys are nonetheless. Next, Tyler Boyd, one of the few handcuffed wide receivers in the NFL. When Higgins is out, he's averaging 13.9 PPR points per game, getting solid production. And even as a standalone asset, when all 3 wide receivers are on the field, he does provide some production here and there. And you look at the green candlesticks over the last few years, since 2020, he can be productive and give you wide receiver 1 weeks and top end wide receiver 2 performances. He has that in his game. The offense can fuel that. If Higgins is out for a good amount of time, you're going to see Tyler Boyd rise in production, because that's what happens when one of these wide receivers is out. The next one steps up, gets more opportunity. Next is Michael Wilson, the rookie third-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals. And he's a funny prospect because we knew the breakout was coming. It officially happened last week, but he's been averaging 4 targets a game, but's been running 75% of the routes every single game. You know, eventually something was going to come his way. Usually wide receivers who are running this many routes, seeing this many opportunities in every single game, eventually scores, eventually does something, eventually has their performance. We're only 4 games into the season. He's already running 75% of the snaps right now. That's a solid get for a rookie wide receiver. As things move on throughout the season, as we see things really transition with his offense, as they're really trying to work for next year, we might see Michael Wilson get more opportunity. He's a rookie. He's developing. He's going to get more opportunity since he's already shown promise. Next is Wan'Dale Robinson. His last 2 games, he's seen 11 targets, 17.2% target share, led the team in targets last week, 30 snaps a game, and a 47.2% snap share. Remember, he's coming back from a major injury, and he's being inserted like that. He was productive last year until he got hurt. He had some moments last year. People were running to him off the waiver wire. Might as well go to him early. We got some plus matchups coming up for the Giants. We don't know if that's going to be a thing because Seattle was supposed to be a plus matchup, but still, he's running routes, he's seeing targets, he's getting opportunity. Could be a cheap get for you in deeper leagues, or if you need a wide receiver, or if you need to speculate somewhere. Now we want to speculate, and we want to look at Trey Palmer. If you want to look for a deep play here, Trey Palmer could be your dude. Mike Evans had a hamstring injury. He might be out for a bit, but they got a week 5 bye, so he might be coming back after that. But when Mike Evans was out, Trey Palmer was seeing 100% of the snaps with Chris Godwin. Trey Palmer was making plays in preseason. He was making plays in training camp. 4.3 speed. He can get downfield. He'll be getting those Mike Evans air yard attempts. He'll be getting those deep balls. Baker Mayfield's going to YOLO it up to him. That's what we're going to be looking at. He's going to be getting opportunities. He's a big play waiting to happen. He's a former 4-star recruit who went to LSU, who eventually transferred to Nebraska, but when he got there, instantly produced. One of the top wide receivers in the 2023 draft class. Keep an eye on him at least. Now we're looking at Marvin Mims. We look at him every week, but I got some more news for you. He's now pushing Brandon Johnson, the 3rd wide receiver, for snaps, as he ran as many snaps as Johnson. He's getting more opportunities, more runs. He did not produce in the box score last week like he did in previous weeks, but still a good thing nonetheless because he's earning more snaps, more opportunities. And if he's on your waiver wire, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be because we talk about him every week, and I know everybody else is too. He is going to get more opportunities throughout the year, and the Broncos have a juicy schedule coming up for players like Marvin Mims, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, because they're going to be in some good game scripts if things go its way. Now Romeo Doubs, he's been going off, needs to stop being on the waiver wire. 8.3 targets a game, 25% target share. You want that from your wide receivers. He's running 30 routes a game, and he has 25 targets in his last 2 games. He is getting opportunity. He's getting targets downfield. He's a scoring option. He needs to be rostered in every league. Now we're looking at Josh Reynolds. Just talked about Jameson Williams. Thing about Josh Reynolds, he has been steady. He has been reliable, and that's something this team likes. He's still going to be getting opportunity. Jameson Williams is going to steal some of that thunder, especially those deep targets. However, there's going to be a ramp up here to that because this is what the Lions do. And the sexy things the Lions do not do, because we've seen that with Jahmyr Gibbs. We saw that again with Jameson Williams last year as they let him ramp up. Josh Reynolds has been gritty. He's earned snaps. He's going to get opportunity. He's getting deep balls. He's got some good average depth of target. Josh Reynolds could be a guy off the waiver wire for you. Next, Terrace Marshall. Jonathan Mingo had a concussion, was out last week, and Marshall went off, got 10 targets and a 32% target share, ran 26 routes and scored 14 fantasy points. He's a deep option. He's got talent. He seems to have a few good games every single year, but is very inconsistent. Dynasty, I like him the most as a cheap get, considering he's eventually going to be on another team, and if he gets a good quarterback, good deep ball play, he could be a guy on the rise as one of those older players who has a breakout season. But those are 10 gets off the waiver wire. The waiver wire's ugly. I hope you don't have to get a wide receiver off the waiver wire this week because it's not looking good. My suggestion is just find somebody to stash, hold on to them, see what happens. Smash running back, see what happens there. Really turn and burn that roster. But hopefully you're good at wide receiver because this is not the best week to get a wide receiver off the waiver wire. I'm just going to be honest with you. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Catch you on the next video.